see. No one said this. I think I sent the email late. I think it just went out. I think we might be on the Facebook. Let's see here. We are. Hello. Not very much.
Who, me?
No, me. I'm being awkward.
Look at me.
Hey guys. Hi, April. We're here. Good morning, Christina. Amanda's here. Let's see if I can get her to come say hi to you. Welcome to live class 5 of our 21 days of tarot takeover here in our Facebook group. We have 1 week to go. So good morning, Stephanie. Hi, Katrina. Let's see here. I got a couple decks out. So today, anybody who might be watching this for the first time, again, you can say hi in the comments. Let us know you're here. I'm Sarah. You guys are familiar with me by now. I'm head magic reader here at the Sisters Enchanted. And this is...
I'm Anna,
my real life sister, and she is the co-founder of the Sisters Enchanted. So Anna is here. We are just outside of Salem, Massachusetts, with a group of our amazing enchanted sisters. There's going to be, I think 15 of us by the end of today here, which is why I look a little different, my location, and why Anna's here with me live, because we're together. And I have a whole bunch of enchanted sisters running around. We can see if we can nab anybody to come say hi to you and meet some of you. There's someone walking upstairs. Do you see them? I'm pointing on the screen like you can see them. Obviously you cannot. So hey Mars, what have we talked about so far? We've talked about all sorts of things. The first week we talked about reading intuitively, and from there we moved into some of the traditional card meanings and the story around the cards and all of that good stuff. So the biggest takeaway so far, I hope for you, is that you can read the cards intuitively, and it doesn't have to be hard to read the cards intuitively. And there's tons of exercises to get you practicing that and going. Jackie loves your hair, Anna.
Oh, thanks.
So there are tons of exercises in the homework. Remember to go back through and do some of the homework and post your responses in the homework threads, because at the end we will pick some prize winners and send you some Sisters Enchanted stickers and things, just randomly. So participate in those homework threads and let us know how it's going for you. And I love reading through them when I'm putting my kids to sleep. So I do look at them. So today we're talking about confidence. So Anna has not seen the notes. I emailed out the printable. I think the printable just went out to you. I think I
busy putting your cards all.
I normally schedule them in order, but I think I sent it late. I think I usually send them early, but I think I sent it late today. Anywho. All right, so let's talk about confidence as a tarot card reader. Whether you're reading for yourself or for somebody else, it can be really tricky knowing, is my reading accurate? Is it correct? Does this feel really good for me? And especially as you read for other people. When you're reading for yourself, it can be tricky to take your ego out of the way and feel really confident about what you are, what your reading says. Anna, do you have any, want to talk about your confidence as a tarot reader at all? How that looked for you?
In general? Yeah. When I read for myself, or
just when you became confident? What was
when I became confident? Yeah. Well, confidence is not something that comes naturally to me. And I think I doubt myself all the time, actually, still. And then I just do it. And then I realize that I didn't really have anything to be afraid of to begin with. But I think I still suffer with confidence because I have huge self-confidence problems.
You just do it scared?
Do it scared
and go with it. Yeah. So Anna, one of the things that I think helped her really jump into tarot card reading was putting aside the traditional card meanings, not putting so much effort into learning all the meanings, the keywords and the textbook definitions of them, and just allowing your intuition to reign and kind of thinking about the first thing that was important to you and then going with it, the first thought that came to mind.
Yeah. And then the traditional meanings just kind of trickled in after that. They just kind of built their own foundation without me having to try to.
Yeah. As you started reading more and more comfortable playing cards. Okay, cool. So some things that could get in the way of your confidence in your card reading. One, if you're reading for yourself, your ego, and also if you're reading for other people, but you're in a particularly sensitive place. That you might, if you're feeling any resistance, that could be why. If somebody comes to you and they're asking for a reading around a relationship or career or something, you're having a lot of tension in your life in that area, then that can be really tricky to navigate.
Yeah.
And it's a good word. That can be really tricky to navigate and feel confident in the delivery of the reading, because you might sense that that you are putting like the ego first into the reading. So one trick is, if you're unsure of what you're telling somebody, or you're unsure of the message you're giving yourself, step back and maybe come back to it later, because it's possible that your ego is getting in the way of that. And if you're not feeling confident in your delivery and you're spending a lot of time thinking about it, I would say like maybe it's a good time to step back, because your ego is what's making you not be confident in your delivery there, right? So how can we do that? How can we get past that? So one of the strategies that are in your homework to continue to get the cards intuitively and be more confident in reading. This is kind of a play on another activity I had you do, but is to choose 3 cards, just simply choose 3 cards and read them like a story. So just look at the cards, and this is the Halloween tarot, and just look at like, what's the story? If I was looking at these pictures and writing a story about them, what would the story be? And then take one card, doesn't matter which one, choose one, and replace it with a different card, and then talk about the story that way. Mm-hmm. And in looking at it as from a story perspective, you're allowing your creativity, which comes from an intuitive place, to shine through. And you're flexing that intuitive creative muscle and getting to know what it feels like to really let loose and not tap into those meanings of the cards, which might hold you back if you're not sure if you're reading them correctly. So that is one of the strategies that's for the homework. I think that's for today. So Christina says, I'm a lot more confident reading for myself, not confident when reading for others. That can be really tricky. And Christina, so you're in the Enchanted Journey, and like Tracy was saying in our class this past week, just think about that first idea that comes to you, and which can be really hard to do, especially if it doesn't make sense. Like if you pull, I don't know, this is the 4 of Pumpkins, but it would be the 4 of Pentacles in a traditional deck. If I pulled the 4 of Pentacles, and which is kind of like holding on to material things and not releasing and whatever. And if I pulled that card and like all I can think about is, I don't know, like moving away, like that doesn't really seem relevant, but it's the message that's coming through. And so the more you practice, hey Megan, Megan is our other sister, actually, you guys. So the more you practice these strategies, like the storytelling strategy, where you don't rely on the meanings, you just rely on whatever creative thing comes up for you. The idea is you'll become more confident in delivering that first thought and putting that out there into the world. Right. So that's what these like kind of creative storytelling exercises are all about. So that's one way to help build your confidence, is to look at them as telling stories. And we were just talking about storytelling in tarot the other day. And what a good, and I think we're actually going to do some of it here at our little witchy weekend that we've got going on. All right. So another thing to do to practice with your confidence and boost the intuition muscle is to write. So this is kind of a journaling technique. And so Christine, I'm just going back to the comments. Christine, this says Tracy's amazing. And yes, always try to go with my first thought. Yeah, just roll with it, which is easier said than done. I know. All right. So another technique to boost your intuition and feel confident in your readings is to practice your journaling and writing. So when you're writing and you're kind of free writing, or you're doing some channeled writing or automatic writing, where you're not thinking about what you're going to write, you just put the pen to paper and start writing. That's a really great way to get out of your own way. And again, let that intuition come through. And the more you do it, the more confident you'll be as you start to transition from writing out these readings to speaking them out loud. So the exercise that I give you in the homework is to pull some cards, set a timer for 4 minutes, which is actually kind of a long time. You could do it for 3 minutes or 2 minutes even to start, and just write about the cards for the entire time that the timer is going, and don't stop until that timer goes off. That's really important. And it doesn't matter if what you're writing is relevant or seems irrelevant. The important thing is to just write. Even if you have to just make stuff up to write about, keep writing and keep practicing this, because the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And the better you're going to get at just letting whatever comes to mind come out. So when you do this the first time, you might find you set the timer and you're like, all right, Sarah says just to write. You set the timer, you get out your pen and paper, you pull some cards, and you don't write anything. Do it again. Do it again. Pull some new cards, set a timer for a minute less or 30 seconds less, and just start writing. And as you're writing, the more you do this exercise, the easier it's going to get for you to write something that is actually relevant to your cards and what's happening intuitively for you. So if the first time you just write and you have to look around the room and you write about like what the room looks like, that's actually a really good step, because it's getting you into that place of not thinking and writing, like you're taking your ego out of it and you're just writing. And then as you progress and you keep practicing, you'll see that you're better able to just think of thoughts and write them down. So Rebel has a question. Would you say that going with that first thought comes natural? Because if you're quiet, you hear it instantly. I think we all have that first thought all the time. I think that it's trusting that first thought that is really actually very difficult. Because there's, we live in this world of material things, and our ego reigns.
We have to think before we speak.
We think before we speak. We can't all just blabber out whatever comes to mind for us. And so I think that it's like reverse training, kind of reverse socialization.
Right. Well, because when you're little, you impulsively speak. You say what's on your mind, and then you're constantly being told like you're like too young to say that, or where did you get that idea? And then we start to hold it back in, and then it's like you got to break those like thought. You have to break that back down.
You're specifically taught not to say the thing that you're thinking.
Yeah. So it's like counter intuitive. I mean, it's intuitive to be intuitive, and then it's like counterintuitive to like to dredge your intuitive nature back out there. With journaling, can I say something about journaling? Yeah. Especially with reading for like yourself, because a lot of people have a trouble reading for themselves because they get in their way. I find that I'm actually a really good like free writer. Like if I'm sitting down and I'm describing like how I'm feeling or the world around me, but when it comes to like a tarot practice, it's a little harder for me because like I'm super Virgo and I want to be right, like by the book, right?
Correct.
So for me, when I'm pulling cards for myself and I journal about it, I journal like what I was like asking for, and then I'll like journal about the first card. But because I'm so analytical and need to know, I'll write the actual like meaning of the card. And then I'll do like an area where I'm writing about like what's happening in that card specifically. And then after I kind of write those two things that are very like in your face, like obvious, then the free writing comes easier. So like once I've kind of like gotten through what the meaning of the card was, what's happening in the picture, and then I start writing about like myself and how it relates to me, it comes a little bit freer. And then I find in the free writing, I break away bit by bit, but for me, I needed like the structure of like going through it in order for my ego to get out of the way and be like, oh, this totally makes sense now. This is what's happening. Yeah. But I had to do like the work first.
You really have to keep at it. Yeah. Really keep at it. If you're ever feeling like, oh, I just can't do this intuitively, sometimes it can literally take some people years to get past your own ego and the things that are ingrained in you. So there's, this is a tangent. And some people don't like my tangents, but I'm going to go on this.
I like them.
So you can pick up a tarot deck, right? You can pick up a tarot deck and you can learn the traditional meanings of the card, just like you can pick up a biology textbook and wax poetic about friggin' like a cell and the pieces of a cell. You can memorize the cards. You can do all of these things. And you can deliver a card reading based on those meanings. And that does not make your card reading bad or anything. Like there's definitely, that's useful. Any piece of information that you're getting that allows you to self-reflect, to grow, to move forward is going to be valuable. Whether you get that by looking at the ocean and just quieting your mind, or pulling a tarot card and accessing the guidebook, as long as it's doing the thing it's supposed to be doing, that's amazing. But the people that are going for like a career in tarot card reading, or are really trying to access some higher wisdom, or like ascend through dimensions, or whatever that might sound like for you. Yeah, that is really practicing and flexing that intuitive muscle and being able to read those cards without without relying on those traditional meanings, or not so much relying on them, but being able to pick up like a 2 of swords. And if you think of a bouquet of flowers for some weird reason, then you trust yourself enough to say, I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but like flowers are really relevant to me right now. And I think that's relevant in the reading. And if you're looking to be more, do like any kind of psychic medium work or intuitive work in general, it's allowing yourself to be intuitive and read the cards intuitively is what's going to get you there. So you can be an amazing reader and use the guidebook and follow the traditional meanings as long as it's getting the result that you want. But if the result that you want is to be intuitive and deliver intuitive messages and intuitive readings, that's when all of this hard work of getting out of your own way and practicing confidence and intuitive card reading is going to be really super important. So yeah, let's just go back through the comments. Yeah, Anna got this sweet shirt in Salem downtown yesterday. Let's see here. So Amy says, the class has taught me a lot with this. Before I did readings, I would read from my manual to give a view on the cards, but I can see what they need. And they were shocked at how I knew these things. Is that intuition, or can you be born with knowing what people's lives are? That's your So that's your intuition. But the idea is that you were born with,
Everybody's into
that we're born with all of the knowledge. So there's this idea that we're born with all of the knowledge of the world and the universe. Like we're born with all of this, and it's whether or not you can access it, that and what level you're accessing it, and what pieces of that knowledge that you're accessing it. So the idea is that some of us, we're all born with this, right? And as we are molded by our environments and society, and we rein it all in and become earthly beings, that some of us are able to access, this is where we see people that really shine in math and science. Like we're accessing that reality. And some people are able to just deliver medium, like, be psychic messages or messages from spirit or past loved ones, because they're accessing that part of their higher knowledge. And so the idea is we're all born with all of it. And then somewhere along the line, we like choose a lane.
Right.
And that's the lane that we go in. But that's your higher self, and you're listening to that intuition if you're relaying those messages. Did you have something you wanted to add about that?
I don't think so. And I don't think that just because like Sarah said, you choose a lane and you kind of like fall into that lane, I don't think that that's set in stone. Like if you are proactively trying to be more intuitive or something like that, and you decide to do those practices, or you want to work in mediumship and stuff, that those are steps that you can do. There are things that you can do to open up more than one pathway for you. So you're not like stuck on like the beaten path that you chose.
Yeah, just like in a car, you can switch.
You can switch cars.
Put your blinker on.
Buy a new car, switch lane.
Be safe. So Susie's asking, how do you start medium work? Well, one way is you could practice these tarot things. We actually, in our Enchanted Journey group, my friend Tracy is a medium, has been teaching about it recently to our group there. But yeah, this is one of the ways, and I don't purport to be a psychic medium, but the times when I do very clearly have a sort of mediumship experience, it's when I'm reading my cards intuitively. And there's a handful of instances where I've been able to deliver incredible things that like there's no way I could have known, or the messages of things to come that would have come from spirit, and they've panned out accurately. And it's still shocking to me because it's not something that I actively pursue, but it's when I'm reading my cards intuitively. So if you are a card reader, I would say firsthand that a really great way to start practicing that is these intuitive exercises that I'm giving you.
Yeah,
and
I find
too.
Yeah, that when I like sometimes I do a reading, and all of a sudden I'm like really driven to tell a story about something, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm telling you this story, but I'm gonna tell you the story. And then I tell the story, and then like the response back is like, oh my gosh, that's like exactly what's happening right now. I mean, that doesn't always happen, but like there are times that it happens and you feel kind of silly just like discussing like what all of a sudden came into your mind. But then you should definitely
like, this is in no way, shape, or form related to the reading I'm actually giving you, but
I just was really driven to tell you this. We both had very weird moments. Like
so as people who don't actively try to practice that, or don't actively try to flex that muscle, I can say what's doing it is the intuitive card reading, and listening to our intuition. So, oh no, Adelina, that's the worst when your coffee maker explodes on you.
Oh, no.
So Karina's asking, coming from a family of readers, I'm trying to learn my voice. Any advice? I think that's like you can relate that to any person who comes from a family of X, Y, and Z. You know, like if your entire family is doctors and you're just trying to find your way, you know, or like, I think that just doing it in the way that works for you, and like all of these exercises that we've been giving, if you are looking to practice reading more intuitively and tap into that, like seriously, go back through all of the homework exercises, and it's all the things that are going to get you reading intuitively.
I think too, like, I think that there's a little bit of stress, like when you're going to read for people or you're trying to professionally read for people, that your vocabulary or your lingo has to be like really strong, you know, or your pronunciation has to be great, or you have to be a very smart speaker. And I find that if you're just speaking like how you would speak to friends, then that's really easy. You know, like if you swear, then in your, like, if that's like how you talk, then you swear, you know, like, or if you have like a funny thing that you say that like gets you through like a weird situation, like you say it, like you just are who you are.
Yeah.
I think you try, like, I think when you're readers, you try to sound like you've really got it together. But if you don't, and you know, and you don't want to sit with a thesaurus, like,
I'm gonna share a story about you. That's okay. But so this is something that kind of got in the way with Anna when she was first. So Anna does, at this point in time, Anna does most of our reading clients. So people want a reading, it's usually Anna that delivers them, because I focus on other things right now. But so Anna delivers them. And one of the things years ago that really got Anna's way was communicating. She was like, but what if I don't speak well? What if I don't write well? What if I have grammar errors and somebody hates it? And not one person has ever come at Anna and been like, that was not proper conjunction, I want a refund. So like not one person has done that. And, you know, usually it's accepted amazingly well. So, you know, that's a really good point, is to just relax and be you. You don't have to try to be, you know, Grammar McGrammerson if you're not Grammar McGrammerson.
And I say lots of funny things too. Like I reference like all sorts of ridiculous things. I'm like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like I'll say something about like an anime show or like Batman or something. And I'm surprised that usually people sometimes get it, but I just say things that come to me regardless of if they make sense or if somebody may not know. But I think it gives you character, and then people know like when they get something from you that's maybe how it's going to be. And you guys, do you want to show your face for a second? Somebody was asking about mediumship, so we'll just say hi and tell you this. If you guys don't know, where are you? Oh, we are in a that's why you're not there. You are going to be there in 30 seconds. Okay.
We're on a delay. And we just froze too. You came in here. There you are.
There
okay.
I am.
So this is she is Esther Jones in for
or have any questions about it, I'd answer.
Yeah, and she's in our group too. You can always tag her. Yeah. So anyway, Emma is here with us. So she knows. She's working on writing a new book this weekend while she's here with us. Maybe I wasn't supposed to share that. I don't know. I think. Okay. We're like, sorry. I will share all the secrets.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So let's see. So Amy is sharing a funny story. I had a tarot reader look at me and refuse to read my cards and would say, you know, every time I asked about the cards. I told her I do know. And then she started to read. She said, I knew the cards. Yeah. Well, you know what? Sometimes, and so maybe that person didn't deliver that to you very well, Amy, but sometimes people will. And so this is a good segue into the next. We're going to talk about asking questions and kind of appropriate questions to ask, which will help with your confidence when you're answering questions that you can answer. So I'll talk about your piece here, Amy, and then we'll talk about question answering. So sometimes people will ask questions that you're like, you obviously know the answer to that. You know, like if somebody asks a question, of us, and we're like, you must know the answer to this. You know, it can be really hard as the card reader to actually answer, because if it's a question like, you know, should I leave my boyfriend who cheated on me and whatever, and that's your question, it's like, I'm not going to answer this because like, I'm pretty sure you know the answer.
Right.
You should probably leave your boyfriend. So
It's
yeah,
like
so
that meme where
sometimes-
the should I stay with my boyfriend? Isn't there like an image and the cards like spell out like dump him? Like they actually use the cards to like spell
Yeah,
it out.
dump
like,
him.
like that's like
I'm
so
not
they're
tagging
right
you in the comments here, just so you know. Somebody asked your name. Oh my god. So that's, I tagged Emma in the comments there. Yeah, so that segues perfectly into our discussion about questions and how that will sorry, I'm reading the comments and talking at the same time, and that's never a good thing to do. And how that will make you more confident in your reading because you know it's a question you can answer. So some questions that are not super great for any kind of reading are like,
straight up yes or no.
yeah, like when am I gonna find the love of my life, or like, is my boyfriend cheating on me? Those kinds of questions are not really the best for any sort of work for a few reasons. One is that we aren't, you know, we're not reading for the other person, and like, you can't really say what, you know, is this guy gonna hire me or something. Like, you've got to frame the question so it focuses on you. So if you're concerned that your boyfriend is cheating on you and you want to read cards about this, then what I would do is ask, like, what can I do to accept the love that I deserve? Or what am I doing that's deflecting the love that I deserve?
Right.
Or you could ask both of those questions in one reading and pull two cards. But you want to bring it back to you. If it's a question about like, does my boss hate me? Is my boss going to promote me? What can I do to be my most confident self? What can I do to speak my truth?
Right.
What will happen when I speak my truth?
Yeah.
Those kinds of questions.
Or like if you want, like if you're trying to do the shadow work on it, it's like, what am I doing at work to inhibit my growth?
Yeah.
Then you can ask like something, if you're looking for the hard questions, then you have to do some shadow work and then be prepared to see what you're doing that is doing that. And then you could do like another set being like, well, what can I do to be my best self at work, to like flip myself out of this?
Right.
cycle.
And so if you are reading, if you're answering questions that you're able to actually answer and do something with, it's going to make you more confident. When somebody asks a question like, you know, that's really tough, like, is my marriage going to work? And somebody comes at you with that, that's an incredibly hard question to answer.
Right.
And
It's a lot of
also,
stress.
as the person reading the cards, that's like incredibly stressful because you don't, you know, like they're putting a lot of faith in you for that. So, and if you do take the path of being you want to read for people in a career or something, it's totally okay to get with that person and say, well, let's reframe this question. How can we reframe it so that we're putting the power in your hands to use the information and move forward in your life? And if you're reading for yourself, do the same thing. Like I never pull cards and I'm like, oh, what do I, like, how do I get my husband to listen? You know, why? Or like, why doesn't my husband listen? Because that's not really useful. Instead, I'd be like, what can I do to best communicate with others? Or what am I doing to not accept like the support that I want in my life? And I look at questions that way.
Right.
So yeah, you guys are like, yes, how do you answer that? Exactly. But people will ask those questions. And I think that's something, especially if you begin to read for others.
Well, I think that people think automatically, like if you're reading cards or you're doing divination for somebody on some level, I think a lot of people have that idea that like you're psychic. And like,
well,
you
and
know,
even
immediately.
if you are psychic,
Yeah.
that psychic information,
it's not always available.
And it's relevant to the situation at hand at this moment.
Right.
So, it's not like it's never the be all end all,
right?
Ever. Like 0% of the time is there a psychic message that is the be all end all.
Yeah.
0%. And so many people actually will message us and say like, oh, I had this psychic tell me such and such. And it's like, okay, well, how does that feel relevant to you? If it feels really not relevant, if it felt relevant in the moment and a month later it doesn't, well, maybe you experienced the shift you needed to.
Right.
But 0% is that ever the be all end all.
Yeah.
Like you have free will over your life.
Right.
Always.
Yeah. Like I'll do readings in person and someone will be like, yeah, but what about this? Like, can't you just tell me if this is going to like happen next week? And I'm like, yeah, like, no.
Yeah.
like,
yeah. Now, and here's the thing too, is that we all have this soul self, right? And it's our soul self that we're trying to experience or grow or move like through this life cycle. And your soul self is really up for a challenge. Your soul self is like, if there's a dark cave that's like, don't walk in here, your soul self is like, yes. Let's experience that, which is how you like we all end up in life situations that are crazy hard to get out of because our soul self is like, I want to be challenged, I want to learn, and I want to grow. But your soul self, because it's like up for this challenge and it's up for this game of life, that's why like no message is ever the be all end all, because as soon as you're like, well, hey soul self, let's try this instead, your soul self is probably like, that seems like an amazing journey, let's do that. Yeah, like let's hit the road with no clothes and gas money and just see what happens.
It's like me going into the basement of this creepy house.
Yeah, your soul self is like,
yeah, let's go.
This is a great journey. So anyway, if you're feeling really unconfident about your readings, one of the things to question is the questions that you're asking. Right. And if you're particularly not comfortable reading for another person, and you seem to be having a lot of these questions come at you that are like very unanswerable sort of questions, then it's totally okay to not answer them. Firstly, to say, I can't answer that question, or I'm not comfortable with that. Let's try this question. And that's one of the homework assignments for you, is to actually practice some good questions and reframing them. Because I would say in the times that I do open myself up for readings, probably 8 out of 10 questions I have to reframe in some way. Yeah. And say like, okay. And I usually at this point will just say, so here's your question. This is what I'm going to pull the cards for. And, and then I say, we're going to look at this, this, and this. And then I, try to present it in a way that would be relevant to their original question, even though I'm answering it differently.
I sometimes do it in spurts. Like if somebody says like, what do I need to do to like get this job? I might pull like energy around like the career. And then as that reading starts going, I would maybe clarify it more and try to hone it down. But so I might ask like the same question, like a varied amount of the question in different ways, and get clarification to get closer to what they're asking for. But I sometimes start broader and then pull more to like narrow it in. Yeah. Especially when somebody is like being specific and they're not like super bendy about and you can always specificness of their questions.
And if you know too, and a lot of you might just be reading for yourselves, if you find yourself really digging into some deep hole of a question that's like should I date this person, should I leave this person, and maybe stop asking the questions and come back to it another time when you're able to do more of the self-reflective work, because trying to do all this, that's ego stuff, that's outside stuff, which is not really going to be helpful for you at the end of the day. So for all of you that are like, oh, I wish I was there, or wish I could meet you guys, this is a super cool event. Hopefully we do a live event next year again, and some of you can come out and hang with us. So your homework, I did email out. I think it might not have gone out though until I started this live chat. I am here with all these amazing witchy women, and
the Wi-Fi is awful.
The Wi-Fi is awful, and I was scheduling the email while we were all talking last night. And I usually schedule it for early so you can have the printable in front of you, but I think I scheduled it for the time of the chat, which was not forward thinking of me. That was me talking and scheduling at the same time. So you should have it in your inbox, and I will also email out this replay. I don't know if we had anybody on Zoom since I sent out the link so late. And normally we have people on Zoom.
Oh, look, there we are, like in real time.
I sent the link
where
out.
We can make sure our chin is up.
Yeah, I sent the link out at the same time that it was starting. So that was not forward thinking of me at all. So if you guys have questions, make sure you ask us in the group. And I'm going to keep posting the homework threads. And our next live chat is on Wednesday, I believe. And it's going to be like really Q&A style. And maybe I can, if I change the time of day, maybe I can rein Anna in for a Wednesday chat too. I think it's in the middle of the day, but if we do it later in the day, I can suck Anna in for this also. So make sure you guys are doing the homework, because we're going to pick a few prize winners. And then in the email I sent out today too, you will see that we do have a really super amazing tarot class called Tarot Journey. And it's like everything you need to know and don't need to know about tarot. And it's open for enrollment through the end of the week. And so you want to check that out for sure. And if you're interested in making some money with your tarot card reading skills, there's an option for that too, which is I can help you out with that. One of the things I'm really good at, besides tarot card reading, is building businesses. So there's 2 options, our tarot class and a tarot class to help you build a business as well. So So check your inbox. Lexi says, I don't think I received it. You just checked. Well, check your spam folder, and then I'm going to send out the replay link a little bit later today and the PDF with the homework and whatnot too. We have people seen and walking away not wanting to be seen. And we're going to live stream a little later today too about this cool place where we are.
Hopefully if we can get it to live stream for the whole house.
Oh, I'll use my data. It'll be fine. It'll be great. So yeah,
it'll be fun. It'll be great.
Yeah. So I hope that some of you can join us in the tarot class. I'll show it to you real quick, and then I will, and then I'll let you guys, go for the day. Let me show you what, it's going to get weird for a second because you're going to see like us and then us. This is here. This is what the tarot class looks like. If you want to hang with us in that class, there's all sorts of class. There's like so many classes, but it's a live round. So we do live Q&As and more lessons for 3 months, October, November, and December. And yeah, there's reading for others, tarot and spirit guides, creating your own spreads, conquering court cards, tarot and shadow work, the elements and timing class. That's pretty cool. If you want to read timing, there's so many layers and ways to read timing in tarot, from seasons to hours to minutes. And we talk about all that in that class. Path walking and storytelling. I think our storytelling class is the most popular part of this lesson. Tarot and spell work, fairies. And then we have a Lenormand class too, which is like the cousin of tarot, which I think I actually really love reading Lenormand. It's like a giant life puzzle. And it's a really cool thing to learn. Mm-hmm. And so we usually go through that live at the end of the time too. And then this time we're actually adding in a quiz function where you can take a quiz at the end and we'll send you over a certificate of completion, which is fun. And I mean, who doesn't like certificates of doing good, awesome things? I know I do. So yeah, those tabs, I know, Hilda, my tabs are, this is a low tab game for me. Usually there's more. Jackie loves this class, my fave. Jackie, I know, loved the storytelling class, if that's what you are referring to. That's definitely like the most popular class in the tarot class is storytelling. So anyway, we'd love to have some of you join us in there, and you can always shoot me questions if you have them. In the meantime, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to download this. I will send out the replay, and I will send out the printable in case you didn't get it. And I think that, and I'll post the homework for today too. So we're hitting the road in a few, we're hitting the road in a little bit. Anna might go get a tattoo, maybe, possibly. And so I will try to get all this done right away. But if I don't get it done right away, I'll do it this afternoon and get it all out to you. All right. Thank you guys for hanging with us to practice. I wanted to explain this too. One of the homework assignments in 4 days from now, 3 days from now. So on Tuesday, the homework is there's going to be a thread, and you are going to pull some cards and post a photo of your cards in the comments. And then what you will do is you will then go and find somebody else's photo and interpret those cards. And the idea is for you to have, not think about it, not have the cards in your hand, and just really let your mind go. And this can be really cool if you respond to somebody's photo that's a deck that you've never seen before, something that you're not used to. And there's no shame in the game here. It's all about creativity and having fun, and no one's going to tell you that you're right or wrong or anything like that. And so that's a few days from now, but I kind of wanted to explain it verbally. So the idea would be that you're going to post a photo of your own cards, and then you'll go back through and interpret somebody else's, and more than one person can interpret. And I will explain that in that thread, but I just wanted to, like I said, verbally explain it. And Andrea, there is a link in your email to look at that too. All right. Thank you guys for hanging with us, and we'll see you later when we live stream with all of our fellow witches. All right. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.